You do not want to do this. Please do not do this. Please do not do this. This is how not to write an ad on Craigslist right here. And I'm going to tell you right now, I went over to this guy's house to look at his amp. Okay, so I've been over there. This is not conjecture. Okay, I went over there. This is how not to write an ad on Craigslist. First off, don't have a picture. You don't have a picture. You have no picture. I mean, it ain't difficult to put up a picture on Craigslist. And the guy had a phone too, a modern day smartphone that he put this ad up with. Just take a picture. So here we go. That's the first mistake. There's no picture here. Okay. And then he writes, the title of his thing is Fender Guitar and Amp. Okay. Now I love Fender guitars and amps. Okay. So I'm like, oh, okay. Let's see what you got here. The $2 is up there. Well, we know he's not going to sell it for $2. So that's not a big deal. A lot of people do that $1, $2, whatever, just to get you to read the ad. I have a Fender Stratocaster made in the USA, serial number 7270462. Okay, by the way, the serial number is N 7270462. N, there's an N in front of the serial number. And when I got there and looked at it, I go, you didn't put the whole serial number down here, buddy. Oh, yeah, I thought I did. So even after I told him he didn't have the whole serial number down, he didn't even go in and change it. So if you want to make a Craigslist ad, put the correct information in it. How about that? If the serial number is N7270462, put that in the ad. Okay. And once again, this is where a picture helps. You can take a picture of it. Okay. So he has a USA guitar, serial number N, and a Fender Twin Reverb amp that was made before the 1960s. I'm reading this going, wow, that's a good amp. I mean, that's like a holy grail amp. I mean, that if this guy has an amp pre 1960s, that means it's 1950s. That is like a holy grail Fender uh historical time frame. 57 Stratocaster, 59 Stratocaster, 54 broadcaster or telecaster. So if he has anything from the 50s in terms of an amp, it's pretty pretty cool. I mean, in my opinion. So I'm like, wow, that's neat. You got a twin from the 1950s. Okay. All right. But once again, there's no picture. You don't know. He continues, the guitar had been set up by Gaze in Maplewood. Both are in excellent playing condition. So the amps works. So now he's got a 1950s amp and it works. That's pretty strong. I have seen an amp like the one I have on eBay priced at 5,600. And my price is way under that and more reasonable. I am open to all offers. The reason I'm selling is I'm unable to play because of shaking. Okay, so you can hit reply on this and his phone number comes up. Okay, so I said, you know what? I'll call the guy. I'll call the guy. So I call him up and I'm like, oh yeah, you got an amp? Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, when did you buy it? Oh, I bought it, 15, 20 years ago. I go, really? Okay, cool. How much you pay for it? I don't remember. It works? Yeah. I go, okay. What does it look like? Is it brown? Is it like kind of have tweed on it? Or, what does it look like? Oh, I don't know. It just, I mean, it looks like an amp. I mean, so I'm going, well, hmm, okay. What about your guitar? I bought that about 10, 15 years ago. And, I go, how much you pay for it? He goes, I don't know. Now I'm asking how much you pay for it because if he bought it 15 years ago and he paid 2 grand for it, probably a nice guitar. If he bought it 15 years ago and paid $300 for it, well, you know what I'm saying? If he bought the amp 20 years ago and paid $2,000 for it, it's probably a nice amp. If he bought the amp 15 years ago and paid $200 for it, well, it may or may not be that nice. That's why I was asking. Okay. That's why I was asking. So I go over there and the guy has a silver faced twin. The guy has a silver faced twin. This is what a silver faced twin looks like. And I immediately go, buddy, I hate to tell you this, but I I personally own 4 of these amps that they're not from the 50s, bro. These are from the 1970s. They're not, they're the silver faced twin is not from the 50s. I've already owned 4 of them. And then the guy says, well, I beg to differ because there's a tube chart on the inside of the amp and it has no date on it. And I looked up on some stuff online and it said if there's no date on the tube chart, it's pre 1960. I said, no, dude. And then I said, I got on my phone. I go, here, let me show you. So I got to the Fender website, and the first thing they have on the Fender website, okay, on the Fender website, the first thing they have about a twin is a picture of an actual old twin, a 57 custom Fender twin. And it's tweed. And I told the guy, I said, if your amp was from the 1950s, this is what it would look like. He says, I don't know. I said, okay. And you said you saw it somewhere for $5,600. I saw it on eBay priced at $5,600. I have seen an amp like the one I have on eBay priced at $5,600. Once again, get your information correct. Here's the eBay listings, highest price to lowest price. Like his, a Silverface amp, $2,700. $2,700. Where's the $5,400? That's literally half. That's literally half of what he said he saw one like his on eBay for. And then I told him, I said, hold on a second, dude. Let me explain this to you. If somebody has something on eBay, they could ask anything they want for it. And then I went to Reverb and I picked this one out. I said, look, here's a Silverface amp like yours in mint condition, okay, for almost half of what you said was on eBay. This is for $3,000. And look at this, listed 3 years ago. I said, this amp has been up for sale for this price for 3 years. Why? Because nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to buy this amp for $3,000. Somebody could buy it for a grand, 1,200 maybe, but not $3,000. Nobody's going to buy this amp for $3,000. And the proof is it's already been offered up for sale for 3 years. So I show him this and I go, see, I mean, I don't know where you got your 52, what do you say, 5,400? I don't know where you got your $5,600 price tag from, but here's the eBay listings, and there was not one on here. And then here's a very high priced one on Reverb that hasn't sold for 3 years. So I mean, I don't know if that's a fair, I don't know if you can fairly, price your idea of what you're asking on the fact that you think an amp is selling like yours for $5,600 because it's not. So here's what you don't do on eBay. Don't compare something. Hold on a second. You can do this, right? I mean, if you type in your little item and you see it on eBay as the highest price, of course you want to use that. Of course, you want to say, well, my amp must be worth $5,600 because on eBay somebody sold it for $5,600. Of course, you want to do that. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But if you're actually trying to sell something on Craigslist, find out what these amps are actually selling for. Find out what they're actually selling for. And I said, dude, I said, your amp, I looked at the condition of the amp, the face plates dented in parts. There's a bunch of scratch marks by the input jacks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's probably, a rating of 7 out of 10. I said, dude, your amp is not even that, in great cosmetic condition or anything. So, I mean, look here, let me show you. Here's one for 650. Here's one for 750. Here's one for 800. I said, your amp is probably worth between 800 and $1,000. Like realistically, that's what your amp is probably worth, 800 to $1,000. And that's if somebody wants it. The problem with the Fender Twin is it's so heavy. In the modern day, people don't want to pick up, an amplifier. And these amps are heavy. Well, I said, okay. I said, dude, your amp. So here's how you don't write a Craigslist ad. You don't write it, comparing $5,600 when it doesn't even exist, and then basing your price on something. Now you can do that, okay, but you're not going to sell your amp. You're not going to sell your item. That's why you don't do this on Craigslist if you want to sell something. So I tell the guy all this, and I'm like, I mean, I wouldn't even buy his guitar. It was from the 90s and it had been altered. It had a different pickup configuration in it, wasn't original. I said, dude, I wouldn't even buy this. I'm not even going to make you an offer because I'm not going to buy it. That was 2 days ago. He still has the ad up. Now, how many people are going to call this guy going, wait a minute, you've got a Fender Twin that was made before the 1960s? Wow, that's pretty cool. I want to see that. How many people that collect guitars and amps would love to have a 1950s twin reverb? Right here. I would. I would love it. So I drove all the way out to this guy's house to find out he's got a silver faced twin. Okay. So the guy's got the wrong information in the ad on his guitar. He's got the wrong information in the ad on his amp. He's got the wrong price of what he thinks they're selling for. And he's got no picture. I mean, I don't think you can get much worse than this in terms of a Craigslist ad. This is what you don't do when you make a Craigslist ad.